Why did it happen, James?
Because I wanted it.
Why? Why did you win this fight that nobody on the planet gave you?
Because his mother.
In what way?
God bless her heart.
23 days before the biggest fight of his life, a man buried his mother. A few days before she died, he sat with her and promised her to her face that he wasn't afraid of Tyson and that he would win. She didn't live to find out if he kept it. He went out and won anyway, the biggest upset in the history of the sport. 8 months later, the same man who never missed a training session in his life couldn't find a reason to show up to one. Not because he lost his discipline, because he got the one thing he had organized his entire life around. Mike Tyson had never lost. He'd never even been past the 5th round. Most of his fights ended in under 2 minutes. Buster Douglas was supposed to be a tune-up, a name on the way to a bigger fight. Only one casino in Las Vegas even bothered to set odds. Every other sportsbook in the city decided the fight wasn't worth the paper. 42-1 against him. Out of 43 times this fight could have gone, the math said 42 of them ended with Douglas losing. 3 years earlier, Douglas had failed at this exact moment before. A title shot against Tony Tucker. Tucker stopped him in the 10th. It became the story people told about him. Talented, but not built for the moments that mattered. A fighter with a habit of finding ways to come up short right when it counted. Everyone who covered the sport knew this about him. So when he said this time that he was going to win it for his mother, nobody outside his camp believed him. They didn't know her. When he was 10 years old, a bully wouldn't leave him alone. He came home crying about it once too often. His mother slammed him to the ground, put a knee on his chest, and told him if he didn't go back out there and fight that boy, he was going to have to fight her. He went back out. That was Lula Pearl Douglas. That was who he was carrying with him into that ring in Tokyo 23 days after she died. She had believed him his whole career, through losses, through Tucker, through years of being a name nobody outside Ohio could place. She didn't get to find out if this time was different. Douglas kept training anyway. Not training to prove the experts wrong. Training because stopping would have meant she was wrong about him, and he couldn't let that be the last thing that was true. It was the only place the grief had to go. The fight lasted 10 rounds. In the 8th, Tyson caught him with an uppercut that put him on the canvas. Douglas had never been hit like that in his life. He got up before the count finished. Nobody watching believed he should have. In the 10th, Douglas landed a combination, 4 punches in under 2 seconds, and Tyson went down. For the first time in his professional career, Tyson groped along the canvas for his mouthpiece, found it, put it in upside down, couldn't find his feet before the referee reached 10. Douglas had spent 10 rounds finding out whether the promise he made his mother was something he could actually keep. The answer arrived in real time in front of the entire world while she wasn't there to see it. James Douglas was heavyweight champion of the world. For a while, that was the whole story. Magazine covers, a parade. The kind of attention that doesn't ask anything of you except to enjoy it. 8 months later, he weighed 15 pounds more than he had in Tokyo. In October 1990, Evander Holyfield stopped him in the 3rd round. This was reported as collapse. The champion who let discipline go. The story the world preferred, a man who had what it took to win and not enough to hold it. Wrong story. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a muscle pointed at something. Take away the something and the muscle doesn't disappear. It just has nothing left to push against. The discipline hadn't gone anywhere. It just had nothing left to point at. When Douglas knocked Tyson out, the goal that had organized every morning for the preceding months was complete. It finished. That's different from failing. There was simply nothing left to build toward. The 15 pounds didn't arrive from one decision. There was no single morning he chose the wrong thing. There was only the accumulated weight of mornings that no longer had anywhere to point. He'd spent his whole life trying to get somewhere. Nobody warned him what it would feel like once he did. You have built one of these too, a structure that only works as long as the thing at the end of it stays out of reach. The promotion, the relationship, the version of your career where people finally stop asking when it's going to happen and start seeing that it already has. You think about it most days, maybe every day. You've pictured the morning it finally happens. Not vaguely, specifically, where you'll be when you find out, who you'll call first, what you'll say. But you've never once pictured the Tuesday after that, the ordinary one. No one's pictured that Tuesday. There's nothing to picture. That's the part nobody tells you. And somewhere underneath the wanting, there's a question you don't let yourself finish. What happens the day you actually get it? Not the day after, not the celebration. The ordinary Tuesday 3 weeks later, when it's just yours now, and there's nothing left to reach for. You don't know the answer. You've never had to find out, because as long as it's still out of reach, you don't have to. The wanting does something the having never gets the chance to do. It gives every morning a reason. You've mistaken that reason for who you are. You still don't know what happens the day you get it. Neither did Douglas. Not until he did. He got what he wanted, and 8 months later, the structure under him was gone. Call it whatever you like. It's an answer. The goal was never the goal. It was the scaffolding. Reaching it doesn't fail you, it removes what was holding everything else up. Look at the 8 months between Tokyo and Las Vegas. He still had the camp, the trainer, the schedule. What he didn't have was anyone to win it for. The first fight had his mother standing behind every round of it, whether she was alive to see it or not. This one had nothing standing behind it except the idea of keeping what he already had. Keeping something has never organized a man's mornings the way getting it does. So he ate. Second helpings, third helpings. Room service from the sauna meant to sweat the weight back off. The same 15 pounds, except now nothing was pointing him back down. The structure doesn't collapse when you stop trying. It collapses when there is nothing left to try toward. There's a difference between building your life around becoming something and building it around getting somewhere. Becoming something is a daily decision. You wake up and do it again. It doesn't end when you arrive because there's no arriving. There's just the next morning asking the same question. Getting somewhere ends. That's the whole danger of it. The day you get there is the day the reason stops. You've built your life around something too. You've never had to find out which kind it is. Douglas didn't lose his discipline. He lost the woman who needed him to keep it. You haven't lost yours yet. It's about whether what you're chasing is something you become every morning or something you're waiting to arrive at. One of those never runs out. Douglas's only ran as long as someone needed him to keep becoming it. One day, you'll get there. And in that empty room, you'll find out whether you were ever more than the wanting.